I do want to say, until just 2 minutes ago, I had not seen the House's version. It just came in. So we've been working off the governor's recommendations. I don't know what y'all are going to present from. If you, and if you've seen the House, and I would like you to work off the governor's recommendations, because that's what we've worked off of. And then if there's something that the House changed dramatically, then go ahead and point that out if you'd like to point that out, and we'll flip to it. But I haven't even had a chance to look at this. I just got it, and so, and we'll go from there. But if you, y'all have y'all seen the House version? Commissioner Wilson, have you seen the House version? Okay, so if you want to make comments on it, that's the way to go. But like I said, we've been working off the governor's recommendations all week until we got the House version just 10 minutes ago. All right, with that, I'm going to get started. What's that? Yeah, I'm going to start with Commissioner Pat Wilson first. Commissioner Wilson, if you and your team would come up and talk to us about your budget. Right there. Welcome.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you.
So, Chairman, we don't have a whole lot to talk about in the governor's budget. We have a governor's budget that really just added the raises, the $2,000 raises, which we're very grateful for. You know, this is something that I've talked to you guys about now for a number of years. We have extremely high turnover, which means that we're hiring the right people. They're being picked off by people from around the state, our Chamber of Commerce, Economic Development offices. We have about a 18% overall turnover. We in our tourism and global commerce divisions, that's about 23%. So it's pretty significant turnover rate. So we're grateful for the $2,000 raises, and of course, with anything that you guys decide to do as an appropriations committee, we're happy for that. We had a change in our budget where the governor decided to move the Centers of Innovation from One Georgia into our actual budget, which, the Centers of Innovation have been around for a long time, dating back to Governor Perdue.
What line is that, Commissioner?
That'd be 138.1.
16.
Page
15.
Yeah.
Page 15.
Yeah, okay, give me just one. Okay. Okay, I see it. I got you.
And so it created a new innovation and technology division in the department, which that goes back to Governor Perdue's era. The Center of Innovation focuses on strategic industries that are important to the state of Georgia and helps really small businesses overcome issues that they might be having by making connections within the private sector or within the public sector. It's a unique program in the United States, and they do really terrific work. We're glad to have them moving out of One Georgia and moving into the department's budget.
Good.
And then, John, would you like to go over some of the others?
Yeah, so on that page 15, you see that they moved 2449. If we're talking about the House, there is another item there on page 17.
Maybe the line number may be better.
140.3 on page 17.
Right here.
You'll see the $214,918. The House did move that over per our request to
Okay.
Innovation and Technology. So the House version does show that.
Okay.
And that was that. The only other ask, there's another item there on page 16. If you look at just above 140.1, when they moved the $2,449,000 and the $214,000, that's a total of $2,664,660.
Okay.
The agency fund should be reduced by that, and it should only be $450,000 then going forward for the rural. They moved the money from state funds, but they kept it in the agency fund, so that should be reduced out of our budget.
And so, also, Commissioner, can you talk about 140.4? That's the $224,000 for a new Hyundai Economic Development, I guess, liaison. Will that be something you're going to hire if this were passed?
That's right. That will be the when we made that pitch to Hyundai, we had two positions that we were focused on. One being a project manager to help see that project through, coordinate all the state agencies that have to deal with this. And the second being a labor and workforce support person.
Okay.
And you know, when you're hiring 8,100 people,
No.
that's a big deal. And so that is part of our offer to Hyundai for support for the project.
What's the number on
140.4, it's on page 17, I believe.
Yes.
On my-
16.
16 on yours. Well, that's great. And I guess that person will be working with the technical college down there to kind of make sure we're training people and
That's
getting them workforce ready. Okay.
Navigating Quick Start,
Okay.
Department of Labor, technical colleges.
Well, that's a good investment.
Yeah.
Okay.
that's-
All right, what else?
The only, John, did you?
Yeah, just one more thing on that before Pat, I think, jumps to the House side. In the innovation and technology, when they moved the money, we made a request with the House earlier, but we didn't see anything, for $27,000, which would give the raises for 8 people that are there. And 27,000, that's, the fringe rate is about 70% now. So if you multiply it out, it's 16,000, it's almost $27,000. So that would be able to give those 8 positions the raises, the $2,000 raises that everyone else is getting across the board.
Okay. Commissioner, I haven't looked again at this House deal, but did they put any money in for marketing funds for you or any kind of extra money like we had talked about the other day?
Nope.
No, in fact, the House budget takes $200,000 from our international contracts, which, as you well know, we have contracts around the world, 12 international offices. It takes it from our international trade contracts, and so I know that there was a specific country that they are interested in reducing funds, but this is international trade. This is helping Georgia companies sell products overseas.
Okay.
The only people that will be injured by this are the Georgia companies that we provide.
That we provide product to.
That's right. This is us selling Georgia products in foreign markets. The only people that will be harmed by us cutting that contract would be Georgia companies.
Okay. Senator Watson, you have any questions? Senator Rum?
Only question I was gonna say now.
What
that's-
mic are you?
I'm sorry.
6? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that, do you know why Scott, I mean, we need to sell our product overseas.
That's right.
That's a critical issue for not only the state of Georgia, for the United States, We need to be putting more money, I think, to promote our products,
Senator
So
Rowan, I would absolutely agree with that. This is, geopolitically right now, we're in a very interesting time. And we have had, the state of Georgia has had an office in China since Governor Perdue was in office. 2007, I believe, we established that office. And at one point, we significantly increased the amount of money that we put into that office during Governor Deal's years. Strategically, we made a decision about 4 years ago to lessen the amount of money that we're putting into the China contract and move that money into Korea, which is paid back exponentially.
Yeah.
And we focused the China contract very much on trade and not bringing investment to the U.S., but focused on selling Georgia product internationally. And so that's really where that is focused. It's our 3rd largest international market behind China, or behind Canada and Mexico. You think about the agriculture products that go internationally into that market, from poultry to pecans to peanuts to pine. I mean, all of that is sold into the China market, and so that's what our trade team helps Georgia companies navigate a very complex system in selling those products overseas. It is a U.S. company that is based in China that helps U.S. companies sell product, and so we would love to be able to return that funding back
Okay.
into our contract.
Well, here's what I'm asking you to do, Commissioner. If there's something after you look over the House budget a little more details, since you just got it also, if there's something that we need to discuss, if you could call me, and Lindsay and I are going to be working on this tomorrow after we finish this meeting to kind of see what we want to do, and So if you have something, if you would, please call me ASAP. So, and I'm going to tell all the commissioners to do that, and then I'm going to let all the members of the committee, if there's something you want to put in or take out or whatever you need to let me know by tomorrow, because we're going to work on it all tomorrow now that we've got the House
Chairman,
version. Anything else?
I think that's.
Thank you. Thank you for all you do. Appreciate you.
Lindsey, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next we'll go to, let's go to the Department of Community Affairs. Commissioner, make sure you're talking to that mic. For some reason, that one's not working. Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right.
You hear me okay? Great. Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. And I will be brief. I'm just going to work off the governor's budget.
Okay.
There's one thing I think I'll touch on really quickly, but there's not a whole lot in our in our budget ads. Section 16. Hopefully, I'm off the same document that you are.
Okay. What number?
73. I'm starting with 73.1.
73.1.
It's page 1 on.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Gotcha.
And really, starting at 73.1, these are enterprise adjustments throughout that reflect the $2,000 increase in recommendation. As you heard from Commissioner Wilson, we too have seen both an increase in turnover as we've come out of the pandemic, but in response to the $5,000 increases last year, that has been very welcome in our agency, and we were actually talking in a executive committee meeting before I left to come here. We've seen a number of people that have boomeranged back to the agency because of their commitment to public service, because of the commitment to the great work that we do across the 70 different programs that we administer. And so I appreciate your support on the $5,000 and your consideration for the $2,000 increases that are included throughout. You'll see that reflected in each of the program areas. I will bring your attention briefly to the one outlier at 75.5. Which is, again, it's on page 3 on mine. Am I tracking with you guys?
Yes.
So this is actually an outlier specific to departmental administration, and it just directs us to maintain our cost allocation structure. Happy to answer any questions about that. I just wanted to call that out. Specifically, the only other thing in the governor's budget, if we turn the page all the way back to, I think it's probably the final page, page 12, under 86.1. You just heard Commissioner Wilson speak to the Centers of Innovation. These three items, the Centers of Innovation, the Rural Development Initiative, and the Defense Community Economic Development Initiative, these are programs that have been funded for several years out of One Georgia, and in recognition of the fact that those were recurring grants, we're simply asking that we move those into the requisite budgets at Department of Economic Development and also TCSG. And you heard Commissioner Wilson speak. This is nothing new. This is just moving those from our budgets to those. Like you, I just received the House budget as well, and I'm still kind of digesting that. As I scanned through it, there are a number of small additions and subtractions throughout. The one that I might highlight, and this is again in their budget recommendations, section 16.14, the payments to the One Georgia Authority, and it appears with their reduction of funds for grants to the tune of $39,555,757. That corresponds precisely to the Governor's Rural Innovation Grant Program that we stood up in One Georgia. Now, it was funded 2 years ago. Over the course, we stood it up, and it's been through 4 quarterly grant cycles to this point. So I just highlight that. I don't have any details behind the ad, but we'll be happy to report back. With that, really, that concludes my presentation.
Okay.
Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions, Senator Watson? Senator, any questions? You got any questions, Lindsay? Okay, thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Appreciate you.
All righty, let's go now to the Public Service Commission. Y'all went last time, so let's bring y'all on up this time, and I think y'all will probably be pretty brief too, won't you? We got both commissioners. Madam Chair, good to see you.
Always good to see you, Mr. Chairman.
Have you had a chance to look at the house?
I have. I was
Okay.
just sitting there in the bench looking
Okay,
at it.
well, let's go off the governor's.
Yes.
rec-
So we provided you with just a bulleted list of a couple of things. 2022 was one of the busiest years in the history of the PSC with 83 hearing days. It's a 14% increase over 2021, which was the previous busiest year ever. In last year's PSC budget, $846,000 was added to return previously full-time positions. We're very grateful for that. As you can imagine, with Plant Vogel coming online, the amount of work and the workload has increased substantially. We'd also like to thank the Georgia General Assembly and the governor for the $2,000 cost of living increases that he has recommended in his budget. In previous budget meetings, we've talked about security, and I believe that I probably need to give you a little more detail of that. So recently, we have had multiple security issues at the commission. We've had well-funded radical environmentalists overthrow our hearing, where we had to stop. And just last year, we had one zip tie themselves to our hearing room door, and we had to call the state patrol to have them removed. We've just had a lot of this activity, and these people are very well funded. I mean, they were just yesterday testifying in front of the Senate Regulated Industries Committee on behalf of a solar bill. I mean, they're active. And so this money that was put in the budget, in the FY23 budget, was to cover the commitments that we had made to the State Patrol for hiring off-duty officers. That got cut in the Senate. We're going to figure out how to pay those bills, but we would like to have that money restored in the FY24 budget. It is just $47,840, but that allows us for those major hearings that we have to get a member of the State Patrol in the hearing room and on premises for us. We have full packed hearing room, and we want to make sure that the public that attends, the commissioners, all those that are involved in this regulatory process are kept safe.
Okay.
In the FY21 budget, the PSC requested 2 new call before you dig investigators, costing a total of $150,000 in salary and benefits. We estimated at the time that they would return $300,000 to the state in fines and fees. These are safety inspectors that go out and do the safety inspections for call before you dig, before gas lines are installed, before fiber is installed. We have, through the work of this General Assembly and Governor Kemp, seen a dramatic increase in the amount of fiber that's being laid across the state. With Hyundai coming in and their suppliers coming in, we're now seeing gas in Southeast Georgia, which didn't exist before. For all of us that live in and around Metro Atlanta, we're just used to having natural gas. We have major pockets of our state where those regions are getting piped for the very first time. So our inspectors are stretched very thin, and we guarantee that we can provide a return to the state on this. We just have such a long backlog of inspections right now. In 21, when you all were so generous and gave us those 2 additional inspectors, that averaged about $412,000 returned to the state in those safety inspections. I get into a little bit more of that in the 5th bullet. But we just want to stress that we operate very lean. We're a regulatory agency. There's not a whole lot that we can't do or figure out where to find the money for it if we have to have it. Since I've been chairman, the office has flooded twice. Now we're in a position where we got to replace the carpet again. So, but we really do appreciate your support. We appreciate your help. Finally, the last bullet is we are asking for $617,731 in additional funds. Of that, those are in the House budget. They're not in the governor's budget. With that,
So the
we'll
House
take
did put it
questions.
in there?
They
Your
did.
request? Okay, good.
Yes, sir.
Commissioner, any comments?
No, sir.
All right. Any questions, folks? Any questions? Lindsay, you got anything? Okay, thank y'all very much. Appreciate
Thank
you
you.
being here.
Appreciate your time and attention.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. We've done, let's go to the World Congress Center. Is Mr. Poe here? Come on up. You got a convention in town this week?
We do.
Good.
We've got the Heli
Phil-
Expo.
Fill up
Maybe.
those hotel rooms. We love it.
Absolutely. We've got the Helicopter International Convention in right now. They're
Good.
displaying helicopters all over the exhibit hall floor and doing rides for their attendees and some of the products that they're
Okay.
selling on the trade show floor. So very good meeting. So to follow the pattern that's been provided in the governor's recommended budget, there was for FY24 was an initial $7 million of reallocating funds towards escalator replacement. That has since been removed, I believe, in the House version, but in the amended budget restored in that. And then with the help of this committee, an additional roughly $8.3 million was added to that to allow us to really take a big bite out of some of the escalators that we need to have replaced in the facility
Good.
itself. So we're very, very grateful for that and appreciate the support of this committee and certainly the House in accomplishing that task for us. So we're excited to get that underway. We're using out of our own funds $1.2 million that's replacing 2 escalators that go up for those that have been in the facility to the Thomas Murphy Ballroom. Those were just beyond salvage, so we're expecting delivery of that product in about 6 more months, because it's a fairly long lead time on that. So we've got them operating, as best we can, but we're looking forward to replacing those as well as what this will allow us to do as well. So there's really not anything in the FY24 budget that we would speak to from a financial standpoint.
Okay.
But be happy to talk to you about other things going on across the campus in the facility. So I mentioned the Helicopter Association. We've got a series of significant events that will be coming across our campus over the course of the next few years. The College Football Championship in 25, World Cup in 26, Super Bowl in either 28 or 29, and then the Final Four back in Atlanta in the state of Georgia, most likely in 31.
Good.
So a good series of events, which is part of a pattern. We do the SEC Football Championship annually on the campus, along with the Chick-fil-A games, both the kickoff as well as New Year's game. And then we'll be moving into the semifinals for the College Football Championship beyond 25 as they restructure that program. So very exciting major events that a lot of people recognize to complement what we do on the facility. If you would know, the Helicopter Association was in the building if you didn't happen to drive by and see helicopters lifting off the parking lots there. But I provided a packet for you that gives you some additional information relative to that. I do want to just speak for a moment, because we've been asked the question, how much do we reinvest back into the facility itself? And I put a document in your packet that reflects what we've reinvested out of our own resources back into the Congress Center over the last 20 years. That's just about $67 million that we put in. And obviously, it's a smaller number compared to what the state of Georgia has provided to us in various capital programs, but we do use our profits that we generate each year to plow back in to capital programs, as well as our operating reserves and our OPEB trust fund, which is our future retiree benefits obligation. So a lot of things that we're doing internally, but certainly not at the order of magnitude that the state has been assisting us with over time. Coupled with that, I'll jump around a little bit, but call your attention to the sort of the next to the last page in that packet, which is really what we look at as our report card. And this is a reflection of fiscal year 22 through our annual report. So it gives you a flavor of what we do day in and day out across the campus, where we hosted 170 events on our campus, welcomed a little over 3 million people to the campus. We generated an economic impact for the state of Georgia of $1.6 billion and supported 16,000 jobs. And then out of those events, we provided, just in sales tax alone back to the state, $76 million in profit back to the state of Georgia, not counting the transportation fee that's assessed on hotels and certainly the state income tax for those that are enjoy working for those events that we host on our campus.
Okay, I have two questions. One is, in the FY 2023 general budget, we put $250,000 in one-time funds for security for the World Cup.
Yes, sir.
Do we need to do that on an annual basis between now and 2026? Or is that just going to cover it all?
It's really designed as a planning number going into preparation for public safety associated with World Cup in 26. It'll be actively engaged once we know the number of games that'll be awarded to the state of Georgia for that competition, because as you can imagine, there'll be a lot of public safety needs. So it's really an investment in what will wind up being a much larger number associated with public safety for that competition. And once we get the announcement, then we'll be happy to share what that may look like on a going forward basis.
I mean, do you think it'll be very similar to a Super Bowl where like Homeland Security comes in and some federal agencies come in and set up shop?
Yes. The short answer is yes. There'll be a multi-agency response for public safety that at all levels, state, local, federal, as a part of the overall safety program and planning. Because you look at this with each one of those games as almost being like a Super Bowl in somewhat almost equivalent to that, because that's the audience appeal for it as well as the activities that come in and surround that, both at a corporate level, individual groups, etc. So it's a major endeavor.
Well, good. I know you'll be ready. And then my last question is, give us just a quick nickel update on the hotel.
Sure.
How it's coming.
We're actually we're a week away from topping out. We're at floor 38, which is the tallest guest room floor in the hotel. We're putting the roof on it next week. And then there's a 2-story, what we call a crown. It's a structural steel component that basically masks the mechanical equipment that will go on top of the hotel. And then we're introducing a lighting system that allows us to change lighting and highlight the crown of the hotel as events or activities or special circumstances warrant. Substantial completions, December the 18th of this year. We are on track to hit that date. We're all contractors, subs, et cetera, are performing exceptionally well. And as far as our booking pace going into calendar 24, our pro forma ADR, our average daily rate for the hotel, was about 205. We're hitting about 259. So substantial increase over what we had projected the rates would be for a group business. And in calendar 25, we were budgeted or pro forma at about 230. We're hitting about 269 on those rates. Group business is really the bread and butter of what the hotel will support based on the events that we have, and then transit activities with the infrastructure that's in place, Mercedes-Benz, State Farm Arena, the special events that occur will pick up a significant amount of traffic from those activities, and certainly at a different rate premium for those. So everything is looking really good, knock on wood for the moment, and we're excited about seeing that hotel open up here at the end of this year. We are planning a special event in mid-January to celebrate the opening, so be expecting an invitation to be on your calendar in January of 2024.
Well, that's exciting. That's going to be a great addition and asset for the campus, and I think it'll be help us a lot.
Absolutely.
So
we're very excited about seeing it come
online.
online.
Anybody have any questions?
I guess you just answered my question. I was gonna ask when you're gonna come and visit.
Yes.
Mr. Poe, if you would, look at the House budget, and if there's anything that
Okay,
concerns you, please get back with me
will do.
ASAP.
Will do.
And we'll do the same. We just got it 5 minutes ago,
All
so
right,
we'll, Lindsay and I'll be working on it tomorrow.
Certainly will.
Well,
And
thank you
again,
for coming
so
over.
much.
Thank you for your time, and
absolutely.
thanks for what you do for our state.
Absolutely. Thank y'all for your
Okay.
support.
All right, next, we got one final presentation. That's Georgia Environmental Finance Authority, and that is Senator Hunter Hill, if you want to come on up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Senators.
Good to see you.
Good to be with y'all. So our ask, I'll focus on the governor's ask, is, and there's a note in the budget as well, and I'm on page 11, I think. I hope the pages correlate, but it's 84.100. And we're a pass-through entity on all funds that come through from the General Assembly, and our recipients are the Georgia Rural Water Association, which the governor asked for $673,495, and the House hasn't proposed a change. Grants to resource conservation and development districts, $330,000 from the governor and no change from the House. The Metro North Georgia Water Planning District was $250,000, but the House added $100,000, and we would support that. And then there were some local government projects. Usually that works because we administer the state revolving loan fund program for water infrastructure, and sometimes senators or House members will ask for money for a particular project, and if it gets granted, it goes through us, and then we administer that project. But that money has been taken out in the House. But again, we don't advocate for these things. We just administer them as they come through.
Okay.
And then, which we're not discussing today, is the bond funds, which we do advocate for. That's the state match for the state revolving fund programs. And this year, it's $14.65 million. But I'm happy to answer any questions.
Well, good. What is your title now, Commissioner?
Executive Director.
Executive Director? Well, good, good. We're still going to call you Senator. We miss you.
Well, thank you, Mr.
We
Chairman.
enjoyed serving with you. We came in together 10 years ago, well, 11 years ago, remember?
I do very
We
well.
were freshmen together.
That was right. That's right.
So,
Y'all are doing a great job, and I appreciate
Well,
it.
thank you. Appreciate it. Any questions? Okay. If you see anything in the House, you said you've already seen the House and there was no changes? The House?
Well, just that add to
Okay,
the Metro Planning North Georgia
and
Water
you're good
District.
with that? Everything, you good with everything?
Yeah, we're good. We're great
Okay.
with all of it.
All right. Well, thanks a lot.
Thank you all so much.
Appreciate you.
Have a good day.
Do we have anybody else? Do we have anybody else to present, or is that it? I think that's it. Okay. All right. Thank you all for coming, the subcommittee. If there are, when you look at the House budget, if there's anything that concerns you or you want to recommend, please get back with me by morning time so that I can get with Lindsay. And Lindsay and I'll be meeting on this and go from there. Anybody in the audience wish to speak? Okay. We are adjourned. Thank you.